Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Talking Football podcast. I'm absolutely delighted to say we're joined on the line this week. A special guest as well, because it's a 100th guest we've had on, Chris Swailes. Chris, thank you very much for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome. Great pleasure to be on.
Great to have you on, Chris. We're just speaking off air there with regards to, of course, your player manager at Dunston, and your sort of season was curtailed early doors, wasn't it? It must have been frustrating for you to, I guess, the whole COVID situation and all that, and affecting your the football life.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we're doing well as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, the season before finished in the March. We learned lessons from that, and we strengthened in the summer, and we're doing well when the season closed after 7 games. Which is a pity, to be fair, but it's the same for everybody. And obviously, COVID took precedent, and rightly so should. And football was curtailed with everybody, especially at my level, anyway.
Yeah. See, in terms of the players and all that, Chris, you keep in touch with them on the sort of Zooms and all that sort of stuff, and you still do the training?
No, not at all. That was it. I mean, we can start it whenever. I think in the next couple of weeks, I think we can.
Yeah.
But I don't see the point of it, if I'm totally honest. We'll start pre-season as normal, which is probably the last week in June, for the season to go ahead August the 14th. FA Cup extra prelim starts on August the 7th. Yeah. So, you have 5 or 6 weeks. And then we're looking forward to it immensely now. And I hope all my players are as well.
Yeah, we're chatting at the bit. Looking back at your career then, Chris, I mean, it's been a very long career. When you were born back in 1970 in Gateshead, were you always kicking
This is your life.
Were you always kicking a ball around as a kid?
Oh, yeah. Sure, I mean, everybody, school teams, county teams. But yes, always from, whenever I can remember, in the garden, and then be with your mates after school. It's always the same, isn't it? Every time I read an autobiography, it's always the same start, Yeah. But yes, from a very early age, I loved playing football. All sports, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Who was your team back then? Who did you follow?
Newcastle. Yeah. Newcastle, one and only side. Yeah, I mean, Newcastle weren't in the top division at the time. Yeah. Newcastle were only getting... For the old Newcastle, were only getting 7,000 to 10,000 crowds.
Yeah.
And then obviously Liverpool was the team of the 70s, early 80s then. So everybody liked Liverpool. Everybody's second to Newcastle. Until Keegan came in 82, and Keegan just lit up the whole city. Keegan, Beardsley, Waddle, McDermott. From 82, Newcastle started getting 32,000 crowds constantly every week. They missed out the first season promotion, and Keegan got it the second season. The 2 seasons that he was there, catapulted Newcastle into what is now the Premier League.
Yeah. Did you go to St James's back in the day?
Yes, always whenever I could. Couldn't get in for the first game, Keegan's game against QBR, because of the crowd. The crowds were ridiculous in them days. But never missed a game for 2 years on the Saturdays.
Wow, it's changed a bit, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean. No big stand. The one big stand, then the old stand, but football's completely changed. For the better, has it? I don't really know, but that's an opinion. Everybody's opinions are different. But yeah, it was great times. Very, very nostalgic.
Yeah. Would you have seen Gaza when you was there as a youngster?
Well, that's when my career started taking off. Yeah. I think Gaza won the Youth Cup in 1985 in Newcastle. And I was just starting to play mostly Saturdays then. Yeah. Saturdays, Sundays, so it was hard to get the games out. I tried as much as I could, but then I started taking football serious then.
Yeah.
But yes, I did see Gaza a few times. Yeah, and he's actually from Dunston.
Yeah.
But yeah, you knew there was a talent there from the start, didn't you?
Yeah. So yourself then, Chris, were you playing sort of amateur and that sort of stuff before? Was it Ipswich that scouted you at the time?
Yes, I mean, school football, and then obviously boys' clubs.
Yeah.
And then left to go to Ipswich at 16. Yeah. It was a time when Bobby Robson left to get the England job in 82. Yeah. So it was a lot of his players in the old first division, out of the top division then. A lot of good players. I've joined in 86. Bobby Ferguson was the manager. Yeah. Wasn't there long until John Duncan took over in 87, I think it was, from then on.
And how did you find him? You played under him. Was it no? He was there, and was it John Lyle that took over after that?
Yes, John Lyle took over. I think it would have been about 90, around about 90. A very great manager, great with me. It's just I was at a crossroads. I was a young lad, you know, and away from home. Had a couple of bad injuries, and my mates were living in Newcastle and all them. The growing years are, if you want to say, from 18 to 23 are hard years when you're a young lad and you're away from home. And I found it hard living away. I was offered contract after contract, and I just wanted to leave. I made my mind up to leave, if I'm totally honest, and I did. And then I ended up joining Peterborough, which you just make crazy decisions when you're a young lad, you know. I mean, I had no guidance from parents or nothing like that. I was on my own. So, and some of the decisions I made when I was young were, oh my God, regrets. I've got millions of them. But yes, it was just one of them things, I suppose.
So see when you left Ipswich and saying you're going to Peterborough, did they try and talk you? I know you'd go back to them, but were they saying to yourself, what are you playing at here? Or
John Lyle and Charlie Woods at the time, who was to Bobby Robson took as his chief scout in Newcastle when he was the manager there. And old Geordie, wise old Geordie, he was brilliant with me, and so was John Lyle. They did all they can to make us stay, you know, but they had a one-track mind, and I always have. And I just made up my mind to go, and no matter how much talking they did, how much they offered the appears and that, I just needed to leave. At the time. I think it would have been about 20. And that was it. I'd made my mind up, and that was it.
See, when you say those growing years, see your pals, I guess, going out and all that every week, I'd imagine you're down in Ipswich, I guess that was sort of hard to sort of deal with, I'd imagine.
Yeah, you always think it's better than what it actually is when you do you know what I mean? You always think the grass is so greener, but yes, I mean, and everybody works during the day. It's daft. You think, and then you only go out on a Saturday, Sunday. But that's. I mean, there's loads of lads in my boat like that throughout the years who took the wrong path, I think. But lucky enough, I was lucky to get back into football, having left the professional scene after Peterborough, and was fortunate enough to get back in it. So yes, it's life. It's the learning curve in it all the way through.
Yeah, you had a number of spells at a whole load of different clubs back then, teams in the conference and all that. Chris, was that just? Did you go back? You took a part-time job as well. Was that right when you were playing?
Part-time job. What you got written down there? I'll tell you because I know. I know they got some.
You said I've got it in here. You played part-time, but was it Boston or something you went to?
I went from Peterborough. I went to, which was the old 4th division.
Yeah. And
then I went part-time to Boston, who were in the National League as it is now.
Yeah.
The manager left Boston, a lad called Dave Cusack, who got the Kettering job, who Kettering were in the National League as of now.
Yeah.
And they were one of the top sides there, along with the likes of Colchester and Barnet and Wickham Wanderers by Martin O'Neill. That was in Kettering were always thereabouts. So Boston, Kettering. Then I went from Kettering to Bridlington.
Yeah.
So when I was at Boston, I actually went on trial to Birmingham as well.
Yeah.
And turned down a deal then to go to sign for Birmingham, which was the old 3rd division at the time, managed by Terry Cooper. Yeah. So I turned down that as well. Another great decision. Just to be back home. See, the big market in the late 80s and early 90s was a place to be. Yeah. Not like it is now, you know. But so yes, another wise decision. So yes, that's. I know you'll have other teams down there, but that's the teams that I actually played for.
Yeah. See when you're at Bridlington, I was reading. Of course, they went to Wembley for that Vase trophy final. You're an unused sub that day. Is that right? Yeah,
that's right. Graham Jones, who was your former player, assistant manager, was in the team that day as well. So obviously I knew Graham from school. Then went to school together, and we met up again 93, yeah, 92, 93, I think it was, yeah. Unused sub. I hadn't been there long, if I'm honest, and he chose to play lads who had been there through the thick and thin of it, playing in most games, etc. So yes, I was happy to be involved, and I was on the bench and gained a winners medal. Yeah.
I guess at that point you would have no idea you could be back there a couple of more times, winning it in your 40s. What was the experience like going down there as a youngster at Wembley and that? Could you sort of take it in, or as it being an unused sub, could you take it in as much as the guys that were playing?
No, but yes, honestly, it's tough when you're young and you really. When I was 22, 23, it was like it's just another game. It really was just like another game. It was big for the club, big for Bridlington. Yeah. We weren't a well-supported club. I loved the experience, and I played a few games in the tournament leading up to the final.
Yeah.
And I loved the manager. I loved the crack with the lads because a lot of them were Geordies and we travelled in from the northeast to Bridlington. Graham Jones being one of them. And we had some great players who should have been playing at a higher level, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But loved what I was doing, which was, having good weekends and then playing on a Saturday, worse for wear. And that's what we did. That's what we did, Yeah. I know that the Highland leagues in Scotland are full of lads who should be playing in the Football League, but they're not because of circumstances, and that was it. That's what it was like then.
Yeah.
And football's just turned so much these days. It's ultra professional. You don't drink, you don't do anything. Whereas 30 years ago, my God, it was completely different, and that was no exception.
See, were you always a defender, Chris? Did you play any other positions coming up through the game?
No, I was a centre forward. Before I went to Ipswich, I played for me.
Wow.
I played centre forward for me school.
Yeah.
Preferred that. The one day that I played centre half for me boys' club, that's when Ipswich scout John Carillas watched us.
Aye.
And so and then I went down to Ipswich as a centre half, whereas I'd always wanted to be a centre forward.
Yeah.
So, and I was keep saying, look, I'm not a centre half, I'm a centre forward. The stuck us in a centre half, and well, they are stayed for ages, for forever. If I'm totally honest. And now I was always. I think there's many a centre half wanting to be a centre forward, isn't it? But I really was a centre forward. So anyway, that's what would be.
Yeah, exactly. Ipswich managed to persuade you to come back down and rejoin them. How did that come about?
I'd been playing a year and a half for Doncaster.
Yeah.
I'd left Bridlington, and the owner of Bridlington bought Doncaster, and he took who he thought were his best players. He took Graham Jones as being one. Yeah. And I had a season and a half in the old 4th division. We did well, and there was a number of scouts here because there was a number of good players there. And I ended up signing on deadline day, actually. So it would have been 95. March, when deadline day was always the last Thursday in March then. So it was deadline day in 95, it would have been. George Burley. Bear in mind, I played against George Burley a couple of weeks beforehand. He was left back for Colchester, player manager. Yeah. And he said at the time, he was an old Ipswich stalwart, and I always remember him saying, you should have never left Ipswich, Chris. And I'd had a good game that day against Colchester, even though we got beat, I think. And the lads were saying, you'll be going to Ipswich in a couple of weeks. You after that, but you're going to Ipswich. I said, don't be daft, man. He's just saying. And there you go. Lo and behold, I'd signed for Ipswich on the deadline day for some money.
Yeah. And I mean, George, of course, he's the manager there at the time. How did you find him?
Well, it's great. It's the first time I've ever been coached, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Coached with a assistant manager called Dale Roberts. I've been coached at Ipswich when I was younger, in the younger days of Peter Trevivian and Charlie Woods and Brian Clew, and then didn't get coached after that, and then got coached when I went back to Ipswich.
Yeah.
So it was a bit strange getting coached, getting told what to do, this, that, the other, and you just, no, you get coached all the time now. I mean, coaching's possible, but you didn't know what it was then, especially coming from non-league, if you like.
Yeah.
And it was strange to be coached.
Yeah.
But yes, I loved every bit of it. I played for Doncaster on the Tuesday night against Hartlepool at Hartlepool, and we got beat. And then I was playing in the Premier League on the Saturday against Aston Villa at Portman Road. Playing against Dean Saunders and Daniel Atkinson.
Wow.
Then them came off. Them got subbed, and White York came on, and Graham Fenton came on. So it just shows you. And I was playing against Keith Houchin on the Tuesday, who's Hartlepool, who scored the header in the '87 Cup final for Coventry, if you remember rightly.
Yeah.
So massive. In the space of a week, your life changes. It's incredible.
That's mental. How did you find the Premier League in terms of like a step up playing against those players?
I think it was just it was the pressure. It was just going from 2,000, 3,000 crowds at Doncaster, where you were in control, and then all of a sudden you've got this huge crowds. There was Ipswich, and then I played against Leeds on the Tuesday night away, 40,000. Then I think I played against Chef Wed, 40,000 at Chef Wed, and just massive games.
Yeah.
All these big clubs. They're not so big now. They are in name, but
yeah,
these huge clubs, and loved it. Did I come to terms with it? Probably not. I needed more time. Had I stayed at Ipswich and not in them years, they're 20 to 23, they're development years. Had I been coached there 20 to 23, yes, wouldn't have been a problem. But the fact that I'd left Ipswich to go out of the game for 3 years, and doing what I did, probably not ready for it. But all the same, great experience.
Yeah, absolutely would be. Portman Road, how did you find that?
I loved. Do you know what? Ipswich is it was a beautiful place, beautiful people, great people, and it's my biggest regret ever leaving. Ever, because I initiated the move to leave when I left in '97. There was a lot of centre halves. You join a football club, there's normally 2, 3, 4 centre halves.
Yeah,
there was 9 or 10 centre halves there. Wow. Who could play centre half? It was just ridiculous. So when you're not getting your game, you'd play for the reserves, and then you'd travel with the first team, and then you'd play for the reserves the next day. So you were travelling all over with the first team, not getting a look in, and then playing for the reserves. And so it was become a bit, And then Bury, believe it or not, came in. There was a few lesser clubs at the time. The likes of Wigan and Lincoln came in for us.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go because I absolutely loved the area, loved the place, loved the dressing room.
Yeah.
And Bury came in for us, Bury FC.
Yeah.
In Lancashire, and believe it or not, Bury were near the top of the championship at the time under Stan Tennant. And I spoke to them and liked what they said, and before you know it, I was signing for Bury from Ipswich, and I think that would be '97, late '97.
Yeah. Yeah. See, when you're at Ipswich, Chris, they had some big characters there. The likes John Watt was there, wasn't he? And Ian Marshall and all that. And I guess it was a lively dressing room. Oh,
very much so. There was a good blend of youth and experience at the time.
Aye.
To be fair, John Watt was player coach, and he was a great player in his time, and he converted back to centre half and still was a good player.
Yeah.
But his days were numbered. Marshy was at his peak, great, but had a lot of problems with injuries, etc. But very, very good.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a few young lads coming through. Tony Vaughan, Richard Wright, James Scowcroft.
Yeah.
Matt Holland. Lots of young players coming through, Richard Wright, the goalkeeper, Richard Naylor.
He was good.
Very good players, and all fighting for places, as well as the Steve Sedgley's, Jason Cundys of this world, Klaus Thompson's, great Gerrit Williams, Alex Maffey. Very, very good players,
Yeah. So, see, when you left for Bury, then was that just did you just fancy more game time then? Is because there was too much competition there? Yeah.
And it was more of a back to the northeast, closer to home as well, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Don't know why I wanted to move. It's just one of them things, And yes, and ended up going to Bury.
Yeah.
Loving it, loving my time there in the Championship. I think we stayed in the Championship that year when the Stan Tennant.
Yeah.
And then he left to get the Burnley job. And then Neil Warnock took over.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in Neil's first season, lost a lot of players. Budget was cut, I'd imagine, from the players that were lost.
Yeah.
And we were relegated to the League One.
Yeah. I was reading, is it right? I think they paid a record fee for you at that time. Is that right? Did you feel any added pressure because of that?
None whatsoever. None whatsoever. Yeah, they paid 200,000, which is still, I believe, is a record transfer fee. Can you believe it? Yeah. 200 grand. So yes, I agree that they did, but they had some very good players who went. After that, Chris Lucketti went to Huddersfield for $1 million. Dean Kiley went to Charlton for $1 million. These were outlet. These were Paul Butler went to Sunderland for $1 million. So they had some very good players at Bury at the time.
Yeah.
And then I was there to replace Lucketti or Butler.
Yeah. It
was Butler who left before me. Before, I think. So because I played with Chris Lucketti, yes. Well, yes, I was the record signer at the time. David Johnson went in the opposite direction, though. And making his name at Ipswich in Nottingham Forest. Former Man U trainee. So, yes, he went in the opposite direction. So I wasn't dependent on the move, me going there, but yes, I was part of the package.
Yeah. See, another player that was there, I mean, it's terrible what's happened to him, Lenny John Rose. What was he like as a teammate, Chris?
Oh, he was a hard bugger. Yeah. 2-foot tackle, Lenny. Oh, yeah, unbelievable. Yes, I have noticed. I mean, I don't keep in tabs with a lot of football these days, but I have. Yeah. I was invited back to go to a Bury reunion season before last, I think it was. And yes, I'd heard all about Lenny John Rose, and it's so sad. It really is. But Lenny loved the 2-footer. Him and Nick Dawes in the middle of the park at Bury complemented each other very well. Both legs, dogs, and could play a little bit. Well, and Lenny's tackling, scared of nobody. Great to have on your side. One of them great lads. And yeah, it's an absolute devastator for him and his family. Really, yeah.
It certainly is. Neil Warnock, then you mentioned there, I've had boys on before and they've got all sorts of stories about him. What was he like as a manager to play under? And I guess, again, another lively one, isn't he?
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely quality. I've got nothing but an admiration for every manager who I've ever. Yeah. Because I know what it's like until you get in that hot seat. But then he's got a heart the size of a, we're bin lid. He really has. Neil Warnock, to do it this long, to the stick that he gets, to everything from, I can't compliment him enough. Brilliant for me. Professionally, very good. He chose us from first game to the last game. We got relegated, and even did a lap of honour when we got relegated. He took the lads out for a lap of honour, and you can imagine the dogs abuse then. Yeah, doing a lap of honour, clapping, applauding people. Oh my God! Nobody wanted to go out. You know what I mean? Nobody wanted to go out, and he's like, "Come on, get out!" You know. Yeah. And so we all did a lap of honour. But yes, loved him to bits. They loved him to bits. I really did. Excellent manager, excellent bloke. More importantly,
was that a tough season? Was that the season you went down? Is it in goal difference or something like that?
Yes, that's right. Had it been goals scored, goals scored, I think we went down with. Yeah. Had it been goal difference, would have stopped up. Because defensively we were very solid, but I think the top scorer was on 4 goals or 5, something daft like that. Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a hard.
Yes, it's the same. You've got Bury, limited funds. Selling players to survive and not getting the right replacements. It's hard. And Bury were always a team who were always fighting above the weight. A great little football club, And they mixed with the top teams for a couple of seasons, the likes of Man City in that year. Matched Sunderland and Middlesbrough, and it was a great time for the football club. Didn't last very long, but great memories. And it's a shame to where they are now. But honestly, Yeah, I love my time there, 3.5 years there. And I nearly stayed again under Andy Priest, but
yeah,
just couldn't sort it. So I ended up going to Rotherham.
yeah. I was going to say that. I mean, I covered them, but I'm down with my job. I covered when they went out of business and that sort of stuff. How it must be sad to see a club like that go into the wrong hands, Chris, and then obviously follow the Football League and not survive.
Yeah, it's incredible. I thought there would be more actually with this COVID thing for the last year.
Yeah,
but after I saw the program on the iPlay, I think it was a couple of months ago, and they got a new manager who knows the ropes and at that level. And hopefully with a bit of investment, they'll come back up. I'll go through the leagues. Hopefully, I hope they do. Be great to go down to see them as a football club again. But yes, it's such a shame. It really is, and just hope everybody's well there. It's because it's a great little football club.
Yeah, it's a pure community. Well, I know that you get the supporters Player of the Year that in 98, 99. The real they take you to the heart, don't they? The wee fans down there. Yeah.
It was. I think it was the season that we got relegated.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it was the season that we got relegated. Yeah. No, as I say, it was Berry would fight all. When I played at Ipswich in the Premier League, always fighting.
Yeah.
Just you're never going to stay there. Never going to sustain it. Rotherham in the Championship, never going to sustain it.
Yeah.
Berry in the Championship, never. Hamilton in the Scottish Premier, it's going to be hard. It's always hard. You're always fighting it.
Yep.
And it's. But then, I've always liked that. That brings the best out of you. I think, fighting above your weight, and it's one of them things, isn't it?
Absolutely. See, before look at Rotherham, did Bruce Grobbelaar join Bury for a time? I don't think he was there long, was he? I don't know if you can remember that.
Yeah, he played the one game. I think it was against Blackpool.
Aye.
We lost. I think it was Steve McMahon. Steve McMahon played for Blackpool, and Mike New played for Blackpool. I think you came in for the one game, very quiet.
Was he?
Well, at least I get to see I played with Bruce Grobbelaar. Bruce Grobbelaar, Bruce Grobbelaar.
See, Rotherham.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. See, Rotherham then, you played it, obviously they're into the New York Stadium now. You'd have been playing at the old Millmoor ground. What was that like?
Minging. No, I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved that place.
Yeah.
Love the people, love the crowd, love the occasion every Saturday, home and away.
Yeah.
And I love everything about Rotherham,
Yeah.
I just enjoyed my time so much there. 4 years, I think I had.
Yeah.
Culminating with another relegation. Typically. So, yeah, I did. I really did. We're fighting for 4 years as well in the Championship,
Yeah.
Always first year. I mean, I don't think we never won for 20 games and still managed to survive in the Championship. But yeah, 4 great years, apart from the last one, obviously.
Yeah, Ronnie Moore, of course, well thought of down that way. What was he like as a manager, Chris?
Brilliant. Him, John Brecken as assistant, excellent. Yeah. As you get older, it's just when you're an older player, you don't want to train as hard or train as well. But we did. We trained the way we played. There'd be 10, 12 of us with the way we played. It was great. It was really hard. It was excellent, the training. Loved the training then. You took that onto the pitch, and I think we had a great camaraderie, great changing room, great characters. And I was at the time 30 when the next 4 years were my best years. I'd say they got the best out of us. They got us on a free as well from Bury.
Yeah.
So I hope that I warranted. I hope I did well for them. I like to think I did, because every one of them wore heart on our sleeve. We were just battlers. Didn't play a lot of football. 4-4-2. Alan Lee, Mark Robbins, Alan Lee, Mark Robbins up front, Sedgy right, Monks on the left, Dawes and Talbot or Garner in central areas. me and McIntosh or Branston, and then Pollitt. Right back was Rob Scott, and Marvin Bryan. Left back was Paul Hurst. Subs, Richie Bott and Paul Warren, who was the manager.
Yeah.
Just great 14, 15 players. But after that, it was hard. It was hard. Sean Barker coming through, some young lads coming through. But great times. Great times.
What was Paul?
It's good to see them doing well as well now.
Absolutely, and of course Paul Warren, the manager now. It's amazing what he's done wonders there. I know he initially didn't fancy the job, but he's another great character as well. He's a right likeable guy, isn't he? Oh yeah, lovable chap. Him and Richie, and doing really well there. I think that they've got a few games in hand there. I think they're going to do it this year. Yeah, it's the first result. I mean, I look at all my old clubs to see how they're doing, but Rotherham is the first club I look at to see how they're doing. And I'm glad to see they're really doing well. They're gonna, let's hope, they'll avoid them bottom four and keep the club in the Championship, which, he's done a remarkable job. And I imagine the budget is very low compared to the rest of them. And for Rotherham to stay in that division, he's worked wonders again. So credit to them. And he's different, won't he? And that's you need characters like him. You need characters like him, and that's great. Yeah, he lightens up the game, that's for sure. I'd like to talk about the Arsenal game when you were at Rotherham, Chris, at Highbury, the League Cup game. What's your memories of that day? You pick him, didn't you? I remember playing one. It was Fabregas's debut. Oh, was it? I didn't even know that. Aye. Yeah, I think he was 16-year-old. Yeah, ran the show. Shock. And then we drew 1-1, I think, after extra time. And then was penalties. Yeah. And I scored the first one, went all the way through. Give it that to the crowd, which I regret, obviously, later. And I bet you think you did go back up again. Sorry? I bet you think not at all. I'm not thinking it's going to go 10, 10, 9, 7, 8, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10. I'm not thinking that in the slightest. I've just took my V's up with the crowd, thought, doesn't matter, it's not my fault, is it? It's not my fault if we lose. And then it comes all the way around again, doesn't it? And then go the same side. Graham Stack, I think the keeper was at the time, the Millwall keeper. He saved it, and then it might be, is it Carno scored the winner, something like that? Yeah, something like that, somebody like that, I think. I scored the winner and we lost, and I felt like you're all right. Well, I'll not tell you what I felt like, but But I mean, see even the game, taking them to penalties, that was an invincible season. I mean, I think that like Canu and Wiltord you're up against. Top world-class players. Yeah, and there was another lad who went to Middlesbrough. Oh, I mean, like Altio. I think he went to Celtic for a bit as well, didn't he? Well, he was absolute lightning. Wasn't the greatest of players, but that didn't matter. He was lightning, and he was the problem. Everything's in front of you with Corner and that. But Altio, my God, that was he was different altogether. Him, Pace is a killer. If you're a centre half, I mean, I wasn't the slowest, but I wasn't the quickest. Yeah. But when you're up against pace like that, you're always in for a hard day. Yeah. I mean, you'd have played at the Highbury as well. What was that like? A great arena to play football in there. Yeah. Dressing rooms, it's once you're out on the pitch, though, you don't let the occasion get the better of you. You're concentrated, and before you know it, the game's up. 45 minutes is gone. Yeah. And as long as you're doing half decent at half time, you don't matter. It's when you're getting beat 4-0 at half time. That's when you go, oh my God. That's when you're thinking, what are you going to? That's the times. And I remember playing for Rotherham and Blackburn in the cup, in the League Cup. And these teams can embarrass you. And it was Cole and York and Duff and Tugai, who was he was unbelievable. Tugai. So it's days like that when you're 4-0 down at half time, you're thinking these are the games that you just you've got to roll your sleeves up. Then they're the ones that you get embarrassed by. But I think was it 0-0 at half time? Did Arsenal?
Yeah, so, you're doing okay. If you stick to half-time, you're doing okay. You're in with a shout.
Is there any places you hated? Like you said, Blackburn. Was there any sort of venues you just hated going to?
Any of it?
I've had a lot of players I've had on say Millwall just because the fans are just mental.
Well, yes. I've had a bad experience at Millwall, but I'd rather not go on that if I'm totally honest. I've come off and got stitched up on the side at Millwall. I've went in with a keeper, and I've went in with, I think, Sean Dyche was playing on Millwall, and we've come off, all three. We've come off injured, and I've been getting stitched up on the side of the pitch, and I've had everything that is there on the side of the pitch. There's football and there's football, and that's just uncalled for. But you tend to expect it when you're down there. There's banter and there's banter, but there's it's ridiculous stuff like that. What was said now, but I think it's expected in Millwall, but it's the way they are. It's the way they are. I'd imagine it'd be at some other clubs, places like that, but. Yeah, there's no call for it, if I'm totally honest.
It's funny, I had Anton Rogan on a while ago. He said he got it in the neck every time he went as an opposition player, then he signed for them, and then he loved them and all that sort of thing.
He was at Sunderland, yeah.
Aye.
Well, that was the most favourite ground I loved to go at, Sunderland. Obviously because of being a Geordie and that. So, and then I played at Sunderland a few times, and I remember playing I played for Bury at Sunderland. When we'd lost 1-0 at Stadium of Light, Danny Dickio came off me. It came off me and scored a header. We lost 1-0, and I've got to go out in Newcastle that night with the lads. Well, I didn't go out, did I? Just didn't go out. I didn't be seen conceding I think it was an 80th minute header against Danny Dickio to lose 1-0 at Sunderland. So I didn't go out that night. Things like that. That you never forget to this day.
Yeah.
And then Sunderland, I think that season got promoted at Bury. Oof. They won 5-2. I think Phillips got 4 against us.
Yeah.
Shock.
Player,
and they won 5-2 against us at Gig Lane, and they won the championship that night. I loved playing against Sunderland, but I never ever had any happy times against Sunderland, if I'm totally honest.
Did you ever come up against Newcastle?
No. Do you know what? Never. I played at St James's Park, and I think I played at all the grounds in the 7 leagues.
Yeah.
But I never ever, whether it be reserve, youth, first team, in like all the divisions. I played in every league, every game, every ground.
Yeah.
And I played St James's Park, but that was when I was playing for Blythe Spartans in a cup final against Newcastle 23s. So I never ever. I played a reserve game for Newcastle for Bury.
Yeah.
At Gateshead Stadium, but I never ever did play against Newcastle first team.
Yeah. So you went to Oldham, Chris. Was that just because Ronnie Moore moved there and he persuaded you to join them there?
Yes. Obviously relegated from the Championship with Rotherham, and had a number of offers, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah.
But chose to go back to Oldham. Paul Warren, Rob Scott, Guy Branston.
Yeah.
Were all there. And just got injured immediately. Yeah. Injured. Totally. I might even had the problem at the end of the season at Rotherham. But did lots of training on it. And then when I first came back, when I'd signed, that was it. Broke my heel. Strange one, I know. I might have done it towards the end of the season at Rotherham, but I played on, and but I found out I'd actually snapped my heel bone.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and that retired us. And I tried to play on as much as I can at Oldham. I think I made my debut in the January, having signed in the summer, and I think I played 19 games there. 19 games. And everyone was total agony. But just the bone wouldn't heal. The bone would not heal, and it was just I was playing with a broken heel every time I played. Jesus. And the padding, tablets, injections, a lot, and the bone wouldn't strengthen. It's because when you're under pressure, and I was wanting to get back, and the physio was great. The physios are the best physio I've ever had. Lee Nobes, I think he's now the Liverpool physio, was the Man City physio. And he was, I was a one-on-one with him all the time, and I just couldn't, under pressure, wanting to do well, wanting to be the club captain, get out there and show the Oldham fans where I can make a difference, and try to make it in. And I had the summer off. John Sheridan got the job in the meantime. No, John Sheridan was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He just said, you don't train, go in the gym all week and put the captain's armband on, out for games. And I just the first game, remember I had all the summer to heal, or 6 weeks, 7 weeks to heal. They bought us a gadget that strengthens your bones and knits your bones together. They paid for that. I wore it on the pool on holiday. All this kind of things, with the family. And it just wouldn't gel together on the bone. Yeah. And then I just said, look, I've called it a day. Retired after, I think, 4 games for the next season, I think. And then wrapped in completely, started getting into coaching. And then, lo and behold, forgot about my foot. And it healed itself because I wasn't under any pressure, any time duration, nothing.
Wow.
I was doing little bits of work on it, trying to strengthen it and all that proprioception work. And then before you know it, Graham Jones has got the job at the assistant manager and asked Billy Reid would I want to come up. And I said, I've got to see what my foot's like first,
Yeah. And
then we agreed to have a look at, take us on trial to see what my foot was like. And it was the worst thing possible. It was on a plastic pitch, wasn't it? That's all I needed. So, albeit a good plastic pitch. So, yes, I ended up going to Hamilton after that, Oldham.
Yeah, and Billy Reid, of course, was the manager there. How did you find Billy, Chris?
I love Billy. Absolutely brilliant. Absolute top man. Really is. And I must have been 37, 38, 30, 39 when I was up there, playing in the championship at the time. And I'd always look after myself then, he'd say, do you want to come up then? He'd leave it up to me. He never put us any pressure to come up. And as long as I did the business, of course. If I didn't do the business, then, he'd obviously find a different way. But he was great with me, knew his players. And obviously I was at an age where I had to look after myself, or I'd be after myself if I, didn't live right. If you understand what I mean. Yeah. So yes, he left it up to me. It's about knowing your players when you get to that age. You really do. You can't. You'll not get much out of them. You run them the same as what you would do younger players. Yeah. You got to look after them, and he did, and he was great like that. Understand. And as well as he was a master tactician, knew every single player in Scotland, every single youth team player, every single reserve team player, every player that went on the pitch. And a lot can be said that nothing, a lot can be said of that. I try to do that, try to get to know every single player of the opposition and know that. And he did that. I learned from him because of that.
Yeah, he's a great man. It's great to see him down at Brighton as well.
Graham's a friend.
Yeah, it's good to see him doing well. And the boys, the defenders, when you were joined there, the likes of Big Marco and David Elibert, how much do you enjoy playing with these guys?
Oh, very much so. Yeah, very much so. I mean, Marco was coming to the end, but still, some unit to get about the pitch. He's huge. Very big lad. Davey, starting off, very good young lad. Yeah, I was just happy to, I mean, they're full time there, and I was part time, and it was strange for me to. If Billy wanted us to play, I'd play. But obviously, you should say to Billy, look, they're your partnership. They're Marco and Dave, and then they brought Kanzo in after that. Yeah. And I was happy to play a bit part. So it was great to play alongside them whenever I was needed. I enjoyed it, really did. But as I say, I was getting to an age where I didn't have to play Saturday, Tuesdays. I was just, whenever I needed, I was hopefully to do my job.
Yeah.
And in the championship, it was a great year. to win that league. It really was for the club, for Billy, and obviously it was just excellent. It really was.
It certainly was. You were one of the old heads there, Chris. There a lot of young boys that were coming through at the time. The two main ones, of course, the two Jameses. Did you know there was something special when you were up there?
It's hard to. It's hard to. I think McCarthy. McCarthy, with him being 16, it was hard to see. I mean, not so much hard to see. You knew he was gonna be thereabouts.
Yeah.
But it's whether, and when he turned down, I mean, I heard that he turned down the Liverpool thing. I just thought this, that, the other. And as long as he got good guidance, good information, and got a good club, then you could see it happening.
Yeah.
James, he was more grown up, more of a grown up player, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah.
More defensive minded. James, he was free flowing, drove at people. You know, two different players, two different midfield players, if I'm honest. Yeah. And you can see it now. They've had great careers, absolutely brilliant careers. I mean, I bet they've been in the Premier League for 10 years now, and that takes some going. You know, it really does. To especially with James McCarthy doing the. He must have churned out some games, and that's all credit to him. Yeah. All credit to him. That's brilliant. I take my hat off to them, because coming from a different country, obviously as well, coming down here, it takes a lot of settling in, and they've done really well. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. So you went up, obviously that promotion winning season, great to win the championship, and then you're playing in the SPL at the age of 38, Chris. How did you find that? Did you cope with it okay, or did it take your body a wee bit to recover?
It always does. But fitness has always played a big part in my life.
Yeah.
And I was a fitness fanatic. I really was.
Yeah.
If I didn't play, I'd run 13 mile on a Sunday.
Wow.
And I'd run 8 or 9 mile on the Tuesday. Or the Wednesday. I just loved fitness, hill running. I just loved it. Yeah. When I didn't play, I'd look forward to the run on the Sunday. When if I did play, I'd be like, oh God, can I go for a run tomorrow? But yeah, I mean, I did. At the same time, I was still wary of. I mean, there was better opposition, of course. There was. It was very good. It was Kenny Miller and Boyd at Rangers, and they beat us in the League Cup, the Scottish Cup. Freaking every cup possible, didn't it? And then you had the Celtic. I think Rangers were the better side. Did Celtic win the league? Was it under Strachan?
I
always thought.
You were there. Yes, Celtic won. Walter won the league 08-09. So that would have been the year you came up. Rangers won the league that year. It was close.
Yeah, I think them were obviously the better partnership up front. Miller and Boyd.
Yeah.
I thought they were excellent. And then you had, the likes of Hibs and Hearts, very good, hard places to go to,
Yeah.
But I think Hamilton done really well. I think when we played, was it St Mirren in the last game of the season?
Yeah.
We surprised everybody by finishing, sixth. I think, was it sixth or seventh?
Seventh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we climbed up a couple of positions by winning on the last game of the season. And, great times, great season. Absolutely loved it. Just great memories, It's something I always wanted to do. Played Celtic Park and Ibrox. Results could have been better, of course, but at least that did it. You know what I mean?
But again, it's like you say, nobody's expecting you're up against it, Accies, and you're punching above your weight. And they're doing so even now. You know what I mean? It's they're always the bookies' favourite to go down. They always surprise everybody. It's
great to see them just digging in and hanging on. I love it.
Yeah.
It's the result I always look forward to seeing, you know what I mean? And it's always, it's always nail biting every season. And it's great to see them just hanging in there. Just hope to hang on the season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You left there, you went back, you went and joined your hometown club, didn't you, when you left Accies? You must have been Gateshead.
Gateshead, yeah. Gateshead. Gateshead in the National League.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where's Billy was, had rest us for and not, Ian Bogie wanted Ian Buggy had gated. I was training. It was part-time. It was 3 nights a week.
Yeah.
So you'd have your full-time job and then you'd train hard for 2 hours, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and that did take its toll on his body, especially when on the freezing cold wintry night, you know.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of injuries in that time because I did everything that all the youngs did, and I should have just said, look, stop, I can't be doing this all the time.
Yeah.
You know, pride takes a bit of a, you know, you want to do what the younger lads can, your body can't, even though you can't at some point.
Yeah.
But then the next, and I got a lot of injuries at Gated. Regretfully, I could have done a lot better at Gated, if I'm totally honest. But and it was up to the manager as well to say, look, whoa, step aside. You're 38, 39. Don't do training tonight. Have a night in, or watch from the sidelines, or whatever. And he didn't, and that was the bit of a regret at Gated. I should have listened to my body as well, and I should have said, look, can I just be off tonight, type of thing, you know. But we survived in the National League on the last game of the season, which was great for Gateshead. Great, proud of playing for Gateshead, and loved every second of it. And
you had a spell for the Blythe Spartans. Is that your first sort of coaching job there, Chris? When was it assistant?
Yeah. Player assistant manager at 40, I think I was then.
Yeah.
In the National Conference North, which is the one below that, the National League. Yeah, loved it again. Bit further up the motorway, but I mean, again, Blythe Spartans with the budget we had, fighting, you know, for beating teams, and you know, we should have even made the playoffs in the end. And that at that level for a club like Blythe at the time was unbelievable. So yes, I enjoyed all my time at Blythe, back in the northeast as well.
Yeah.
As I say, I got into coaching. I was coaching at Hamilton. I was coaching at Oldham, actually.
Wow.
And I was coaching when I left Oldham to join Hamilton. I was actually had a full-time job at Darlington College as a full-time coach, and I was working at Middlesbrough Academy. So when I was going up to Hamilton, I had 3 jobs. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was full-time job, was coaching at Darlington College, and then Middlesbrough Academy on 3 nights a week and a Sunday, and then obviously going up to Hamilton on the Tuesday, and then on the Saturday. Yeah. So it was very busy then, very busy.
Yeah. And of course, there you go to Dunston, and you go back to Wembley, the old Vase final. You'd win it on this. You won it 2-0 against, was it Auckland Town you beat? West
Auckland.
Yeah.
Which was the first winners supposedly of the first FA Cup, West Auckland.
Wow, I know that.
The World Cup, sorry, the first winners of the World Cup. That's what they reckon. But yes, I was 41 then, 41. And it was an old mate, Billy Owen, I went to school with. It was the manager. Would I come along? As I was thinking about hanging my boots up, but I just thought, there was loads left in the tank. So I mean, I was working at East Durham College full time then as a football coach, and then still working at, and then I think I was working at Newcastle Academy then.
Yeah.
Doing the under 16, so 3 jobs again, but loving every minute of it, you know.
Yeah.
And especially when it's going well on the football pitch, your life's great, you know.
Yeah.
And it was, you know. As I say, we could even won the league that season. We had a chance to win the league, blew it, but how fitting to go back to Wembley in front of you know, a Gates. It's a Gates. It's Dunston's in Gateshead, small place in Gateshead. So it was ideal in front of Dunston fans, and superb occasion, live long in the memory.
Yeah, can you take it more in because you're an older pro at that point, Chris? The whole occasion sort of thing.
Yes, you can, because then at the time you have your wife and your kids.
Yeah.
There with you, so it was a great time, you know, and you obviously your family and friends come along, and you do. If I always remember that the 2 occasions that I actually played it were the most saturated, knackered I ever was.
Yeah.
Of all the games I've ever played, really was, you know, just absolutely saturated and knackered. I've never been so knackered in 2 games. I don't know what it was. Never been like that before in my life. I don't know how, why, but that's the most sapped I was for the games. Whether it was Wembley, I don't know the size of it, but I'm sure it's the same size as every other pitch.
Yeah.
But it was just the occasion. I think it was just the occasion and everything that goes with it.
Yeah. I was reading this, I mean, a few years later, you had, was it heart surgery or something you had that sounded a bit scary?
Yeah. I mean, playing for Dunston, actually, I knew there was something wrong before I actually played the game, and chilled on an evening. I mean, before I couldn't do the warm-up. I couldn't walk up the stairs before the game, if I'm honest. And I couldn't clean my teeth before I left.
Oof.
I was out of breath, and then I just, as I went to run for the ball, I just caught my breath. I couldn't get, I had to go down. I couldn't breathe. I just couldn't breathe. Oof. And I was on my honkers, and I didn't know what was happening, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I got my breath, and I just had to say, look, I had to come off, and I got took to hospital. And anyway, I had heart surgery.
Yeah.
I had heart surgery within, I think it was, I had atrial fib. They did me chest 3 times. Cardioversions, I had 3 of them. And then I had heart surgery in the end. But then in the heart surgery, he nicked the phrenic nerve. So that botched the operation up. So I had to be on loads of drugs for a year to control my breathing. And loving my fitness, that was driving us round the bend.
Yeah.
So I had to retire, football-wise, playing-wise, and just wait for this to eventually heal, the diaphragm, because the diaphragm had controlled my breathing, and he'd nicked this phrenic nerve. So I couldn't breathe properly, so I had to be on warfarin and beta blockers just in case I had this heart attack through it, you know. Yeah. But luckily, I never had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And I just had that's all it was, heart surgery.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And then that was it. Now I'm back to square one, back to normal, fighting fit.
Yeah, ideal. For there, you had a wee coaching spell. You came back to Accies for a bit. With Canzo, of course, get the manager's job. Did you enjoy your wee spell back up the road, Chris?
Yes and no. That's probably one big blotch on my career, if I'm totally honest. I would have liked to have stayed there longer.
Yeah.
But I think we're there for 8 games. I didn't do a lot of coaching. Did a lot of overseeing stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't ideal for me. Wasn't ideal for the club. Just decided to part company, if I'm totally honest. I didn't think we won in 8 games. And it was the first time I think Aki's had an assistant manager type of thing. It was a new rule. But that's football. Moved on, and I'm glad to see that they stayed up, etc. And that was it, really. That was it. It was just quite disappointing, but it's gone now. It's under water under the bridge.
Yeah, and then you come back out of retirement and play again. Then you're at Wembley before you know it again with Morpeth Town. Crazy.
Yeah, well, another mate who I played football with had the Morpeth job and asked if I want to play, and said yes, and that was it. A year later, I played at Wembley, Morpeth against Hereford.
Yeah.
You know, of all clubs to play against Hereford, I made my debut for Doncaster in the Football League in 1993 for Doncaster against Hereford. Yeah. And then I'm playing against Hereford at Wembley at 45.
Wow, scored.
So, it was great occasion. There's an owner called Ken Beattie, who owned Morpeth, who owns a lot of places in Morpeth. Big man in Morpeth. I was just delighted for him. Absolutely delighted for Ken Beattie, a great bloke, you know. Delighted for the football club and the fans at Morpeth. And it was just against all odds again, you know. We had, you know, we didn't stand a chance against Hereford. We rode the storm. We were 1-0 down early doors and rode the storm and ended up coming out 4-1 winners. And just a great occasion, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I was reading there was 47,000 or something at the game that day.
No, I don't think there's that. Oh no, I don't think there's that many. I don't know the crowd, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But I think they had the you know what? I think they had the trophy on after it as well. So
that might have been it. Yeah, the 2 games.
Put the two together. Yes, put the two together. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, scoring as well, stuff that everybody dreams of at Wembley, Chris.
Yeah, I don't get many 30-yarders. I don't get many 30-yarders. But yeah, a 30-yarder off the crotch area. But yeah. I mean, yeah, I celebrated like it was a 30-yard. But once that ball, see, it's when I used to always go up with a keeper. But as you get older, you think I've been injured a few times if I went on with a keeper. So I'll just drop back, let somebody else go up with a keeper and see what happens. So the other centre half, Michael Hall, has went up with a goalkeeper. I've rode me luck, took a gamble, and it's dropped, and it's just hit off me mid-drift and went in over the line. Took for ages to go over the line, but that's what I mean. It's just happened. It was one of them things, and please, yes, and it went over the line, and it's just to cap it all at 45. It was great. It really was just so memorable. So it's some great career highlights, and this was fitting. You know, it was a great occasion and a great day.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff. And it leads us on. You're at Dunston now. You're the main man as a manager. You've been there for a good few years, Chris. So how much do you enjoy being your own man sort of thing? Yeah,
absolutely love it.
Yeah,
I wish I'd have done it earlier to a point, but then I wouldn't have had experiences of going to Wembley a few times. And yes, you live and die by this sort of, I'm totally honest, with your decisions, and I like that. Don't like the assistant malarkey stuff, if I'm totally honest. Don't like that. But we're doing okay so far.
Yeah.
And just bring another season, another hopeful season. We're doing well before lockdown there.
Yeah.
As I'm enjoying it. I love the football club, Dunston. As I say, we've done well. I've done well as a player there. And just want to do well for the club and the fans and the chairman, and to have this great committee there as well, who do everything. You know, you're invaluable to doing stuff. You know, volunteers, and just want to see this. You know, hopefully, climb the leagues. If I'm totally honest, in the football club is capable of that. I think it will, and hopefully under my guidance, will do.
Yeah, well, we wish you all the best going forward, Chris, and hopefully we're back playing football before too long. It's been sensational having you on. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
That's great, Derek. Thank you very much, mate.